Hello everyone, I hope you're all having a fabulous Monday. Today I'm coming at you with our weekly Minks Monday Q&A. Before we get started, let me share the bag that I'm currently rocking, and that is the Louis Vuitton Palm Springs mini backpack. Alright, so grab your coffee, grab your tea, let's start your workout, let's go to work, let's do your laundry, whatever it is that you do, come join me. We have some awesome topics to cover today. Starting with the first question from Ashley LV Doll. How do you stay safe when carrying luxury goods? Lately, I've been feeling very paranoid when carrying my expensive bags, especially now with the holiday season. This is a wonderful question, and to be honest, I try not to think about it too much because I feel that if I end up giving too much thought to it, then I won't end up enjoying the handbag as much. However, I also feel that it's very important to stay aware of your surroundings. Now, as far as, how I feel, how do I stay safe during the holiday season with the handbags that I'm carrying? I prefer to use smaller handbags, handbags that I can end up being a little bit more crossbody. They end up laying flat up against my body because I feel that by doing that, I'm able to navigate through the crowds a lot better because with the holidays, when you go into a store, it's just jam-packed with people. And sometimes if you have a bigger handbag, it makes it a little bit easier for them to reach inside of your, bag and pull out whatever it is. So by using the smaller bags, I feel a little bit better. It gives me a little bit more peace of mind. And I also like to sometimes put it underneath my coat. I kind of treat it the way that I do when I'm, when we're traveling or when we're sightseeing. Whenever we go sightseeing, I have a smaller handbag. I just carry the essentials. I don't need to necessarily carry everything with me. And I say that very loosely, and I'll get into that in just a second. But whenever we travel, I have the smaller handbag, and I like to put it underneath my coat, underneath my sweater, because I feel that it doesn't make it as noticeable. It's not as visible, but I still have my bag with me, versus having it on my shoulder or anything like that. It just gives me that extra peace of mind that makes me feel a little bit better. And as far as if you want to use your Neverfull, I always recommend just cinching in the sides. That way you still carry whatever it is that you need to carry with you, but it's just not as open as, being out and about. Now, what I was talking about earlier, I was using the Deauville last week, and we went to the store, and it was just jam-packed with people. I couldn't get past anybody without bumping into them, and it's a big bag, right? And it made me feel a little bit paranoid as well. Even though, like I said before, I try not to think about it too much, sometimes you just can't help to feel that way. At least that's how it is for me. So when I was carrying this bag, I had everything and the kitchen sink, because usually with bigger bags, I just can't not carry everything with me, So I had everything in here, and I was going through the crowds, and I had the same person behind me. I don't know. It sounds like it's it sounds like it's bad that we were like ants in this little store, and I felt like my gut instinct just felt like really weirded out. You know what I mean? And I ended up just turning around, and the person was literally right by my bag, and their hand was close by the opening, and had I not turned around, I know for sure, well, I can't say I know for sure. I have a feeling that something would have been missing out of my handbag. So now, with the way that I felt with that whole situation, I know that I will stick to the smaller handbags. I will stick to the ones that maybe have a flap opening that's not as easy. It's not as accessible to be able to reach in and grab the items. I really like the Pochette Métis because it does have the S-lock. It's not like you can just end up pushing on this and it opens up. And when it comes to Speedies, even though normally I like to leave them open, during the holiday season, I will end up putting the lock on there because it gives me that peace of mind. Some people might think it's ridiculous. Some people might think it's going a little too extra, or if you feel that paranoid, why do you even carry an expensive handbag? It's not about that. It's about being able to be safe. Why can't you be safe and enjoy the bags that you really like because of these crowded areas? I'm not saying that I do this on the daily, but if it makes someone feel better to do that when it's whether it's the holiday season or not, I say why not? If it gives you that extra peace of mind. So those are some of the things that I end up doing. Like I said, a smaller handbag, something crossbody, something up against my body to navigate through the crowds, and to give you a little bit more extra safety, if you will. Maybe it's not even safety, maybe it's just all in my head, but putting it underneath my coat makes me feel a lot better about being out there. You know what I mean? So I don't know if that answers your question. I hope that it does. But whatever ends up working out for you, putting the lock or whatever, you know, however it is that you feel most comfortable, I definitely say go for it. But I hope that was able to answer your question. All right. And then the next one, this person wanted to be anonymous, and I respect that. All right. I love my husband. He is very supportive of my handbag addiction, but he's not the greatest gift giver. I know it's not about the gift, but I feel bad telling him I don't like what he gifted me. How can I let him down gently? This is a fabulous, fabulous question. Okay, so I see it a few different ways. First and foremost, for me, it's about being very honest, and letting them know, you know, how you feel about the gift. And a perfect example. In the past, Robert has gifted me items that were very, very beautiful, but they weren't necessarily for me. And I'll always tell him that. I'll say, you know, it's a gorgeous bag. It's a lovely gift. It's just not for me. Do you mind if I end up exchanging it for something that I'll end up getting a lot more use out of? But I really appreciate the thought. That was very, very nice of you. Thank you so much, type of thing. And I like to call it a compliment sandwich, because I feel that there's also a way of being considerate of that person's feelings, because, you know, they put a lot of thought into the gift, into buying you a gift, right? You want to be considerate of those feelings. And personally, it's not for me to say, hey, I don't like this. Why'd you get me this? Blah, blah, blah. I'm not that type of person. And I always appreciate the fact that they went out of their way and they thought about, okay, well, what would she like? Would she like this? Would she like that? And of course, they won't necessarily see things the way that we see them, right? So, kind of with the whole thing of luxury goods, Robert doesn't really get it. It's not for him, but he knows that's what I love. That's one of my passions. So by doing the compliment sandwich, you say, it's a lovely gift or whatever it is. And then you tell them why it won't work out. That's the middle part of the sandwich. And then you end it on a positive note. And I feel that by doing that, you're being, like I said before, very considerate of their feelings, and you're acknowledging the fact that they put that much thought into a gift, but you would really like to use something, or you'd really like something that you can end up getting a lot more use out of. So that's the way that I see it. I've always been very, upfront with Robert with anything that he's gifted me in the past. And like I said before, there have been some amazing gifts, but they just weren't necessarily for me. They might be a little too much out there, versus some of the classics that I end up sticking to. But I still appreciate the fact that he went out there and he thought of something that, I think Minnie would really like this. And that's just the way that I would do it. Just let them know, because I know there's a lot of people out there that might say, well, if you don't like what I give you, then I'm never giving you anything, again. And that's not fair either, because then it's almost like you're telling the person you have to like what I get you, and that's not always the case. So a compliment sandwich is what I always recommend doing. I feel that it ends up working out for both parties, and it doesn't necessarily have to apply only to luxury goods or only to your husband. It could be towards anybody, because you're, again, acknowledging the fact that they gifted you something. It's just not necessarily for you. So I hope that was able to answer your question. Next question from Lynn A. Can you tell me if you've had any color transfer issues with your Deauville? I just got the charcoal Deauville and I'm concerned about the light color. It is sitting in the Chanel box and I cannot decide. Fantastic question. And first and foremost, congratulations on your charcoal Deauville. It is absolutely gorgeous. I love the new collection. I have the pink one and I can't wait to use it. All right, so to answer your question, since I haven't used the pink one, I've mostly been using my gray Deauville, and I haven't had any issues with color transfer thus far. And to be honest, I'm a little surprised, only because I knew that when I got this bag, I was going to use it like I do my Neverfull and Damier Azur. I figured it is what it is. I'm not going to baby it. And that's exactly what I've done. And I've been using quite a bit of saturated, very highly saturated blue jeans lately. And I thought for sure I was going to have like color transfer back here. I haven't had any issues whatsoever. And I remember every time after we go out and we get home, I look it over and I'm thinking, how is there no color transfer? How is there no color transfer? And I even looked at the bottom, like sometimes I set the bag down and I haven't had any dirt residue show up either. And I know that when I talked to my sales associate when I got this, he had said that the raffia material, because this is, I don't know if I mentioned it, is the raffia material, he had said that it's really great. It doesn't end up having any color transfer. And I know because of the new collection, it has the raffia and the fabric material. I feel that even if you were to get some type of color transfer, you wouldn't be able to notice it as much because you do have those two fabrics intertwined. Versus this one, I felt like you'd be able to see it a lot more because it's just the one color. But like I said, I've had no issues with the raffia material, and it's held up a lot better, but I think you'll be okay. What I strongly suggest is just to talk to your sales associate and say, hey, I'm really concerned about the color transfer. Do you think it'll be an issue? And just hear what they have to say. I know I took a huge risk going with the pink one because I mostly tend to stick to darker colors. And this one is pretty light for me. And like I said, the fact that I haven't had any issues makes me really, really happy. So again, I think you'll be okay. But if you want that extra peace of mind, I would highly suggest talking to your sales associate. So I hope it was able to help. All right, next question from IMG Pop 55. I was wondering, with all these other fashion houses, Chanel, Gucci, Dior, having a makeup skincare line, do you think that Louis Vuitton, I think I said that weird, do you think that Louis Vuitton would ever come out with a makeup skincare line of their own? What are your thoughts? This is a fantastic question, and I know in the past, Louis Vuitton had nail polishes. I think they were a limited edition, and I know they currently have the fragrances. So personally, I think it would be great to see. I can only imagine how fabulous their makeup would be, especially if they put as much thought and effort into what they do with luxury goods. Having said that, I know that they're going to have a team that's specially, that specializes in the makeup, that specializes in the skincare, kind of like what they did with the fragrances. I just hope that they don't, if they were to move in that direction, that they wouldn't lose focus of their luxury goods to put so much time and effort into the makeup skincare line, you know what I mean? But regardless, I think it would be amazing. I can only imagine, as I mentioned before, how wonderful it must be. And I mean, just think about it. The fragrances, it took them years to perfect the scents and what they wanted to go for. And even though personally they weren't necessarily for me, although I have one that's really been growing on me lately, but for the most part, they're extremely successful in everything that they do. So I can only imagine how fantastic their skincare or their makeup line would be. But I personally would be a huge fan if they decided to move in that direction. What do you guys think? I'd love to hear your thoughts on this question. But great question. All right, next one from Miss JM. I am planning to go to Disney in a couple of months, and seeing you were recently there. I'm just wondering which handbag you would have chosen if you needed to carry more than the mini pochette could fit. I'll be there with my 2 young daughters, so I may have to carry some things for them. Sunscreen, for example. My only crossbody is my Chanel Mini. Not sure if I want to take that to Disney though. What are your thoughts? Thank you for any suggestions. P.S. I don't care for backpacks. Wonderful question. All right, so the Chanel Mini, I think it would be great, but since you said that you want to carry a few more items, there's only so much that you can fit in the Mini, and personally, I wouldn't end up going for that one, but it's all a matter of personal preference. There are a few suggestions that I have for you. The first one being the pochette accessoire, most importantly in the Damier bend, because you don't have to worry about any type of vachetta, water stains, or anything like that. So if you go on any water rides, you know that this will be okay. And even though it is small, you can still fit quite a bit in here. And I know that the strap drop might not be, if you want something a little bit longer, you can always add a crossbody strap to it, so that way you can be hands-free, even though when you put it on your shoulder, you're also hands-free. But like I said, if you want something a little bit longer, you can always get a crossbody strap for it. But it fits quite a bit of items, and it has a pretty friendly price point. If you're looking for maybe a little bit of a bigger bag, another bag that is fantastic for crossbody is the Pochette Métis. The reason why I'm such a big fan of it is because it's kind of in the medium size, so it's not this overwhelming bag, and it also has the compartments that you can fit quite a bit more in here. So if you wanted to fit all of your necessities for your handbag plus their sunscreen or whatever else they needed to carry, you can do that with this. And like I said, it's not cumbersome. It lays flat up against your body, and it has those organized pockets as well. So I'm a big fan of the Pochette Métis for that matter. This does have a little bit of vachetta, not too much, but you can also end up putting like a twilly on here if you wanted to protect the leather a little bit more. And then the other one that I would suggest would be the Speedy 25 bandolier, because you can be hands-free, it is crossbody, and you can fit quite a bit of items in there. And also, like the Pochette Métis, it's not an overwhelming bag. So that guy right there. And if you wanted to be even more carefree, I would definitely end up going for Damier Ben, because like I mentioned before, you don't have to worry about vachetta, you don't have to worry about water stains or anything like that, and you can just enjoy the bag without having to think of what it's going to do to the leather. So those are just some of the suggestions that I have for you, but I know there's a few others, but those are the three that just stand out the most. So hopefully that was able to help, and I hope you guys have a blast when you go to Disneyland. Next question from Itzel Pardon. Hopefully I said that correctly. I have currently been working with a Louis Vuitton sales associate from San Fran and another sales associate from Chicago, but I live in Miami. They have been great at finding me hard to get items, but I am curious if I should feel guilty for cheating on a sales associate with the other. Should I just rely on the Louis Vuitton sales associate here in Miami in order to see the items in person prior to finalizing a purchase? Thank you so much. I've been feeling guilty for having two sales associates. I don't know if others have felt the same way. This is a wonderful question. All right, so should you feel guilty for cheating on a sales associate with another? Absolutely not. I've said it before. I do it all the time. And I'm very forthcoming. I mean, when I go into a boutique and they see me wearing something, they're like, wait a minute, you didn't get that from me. And they know. But the way that I see it is, I know that a lot of people frown against it because they think loyalty, you should stick to your sales associate and just build that relationship. And I get that. At the same time, a lot of associates work at different boutiques, and sometimes those boutiques might end up getting different items that come in. Like, for example, if there's a boutique that you normally go to, maybe they get 1 or 2 bags versus another boutique might have 5 or 6 coming in. So you have a better chance of getting it through that boutique versus just to sticking to the one. So if I'm able to get something, especially if I'm looking for something at the moment, and like you mentioned, they were able to get you a lot of hard to find items. If you're able to get those items that you really want, who knows how long it'll take for your boutique to get them in. So by reaching out and, you know, having other associates in other cities or in other states, it makes it a lot easier to get your hands on those items. You know, so I get, like I said before, I get the whole loyalty thing, and I think it's great when you have an associate that is able to get items for you very quickly no matter what. But sometimes, you know, there are boutiques that just don't get as much volume as others do. So by having multiple sales associates, you have a better chance of getting the item that you really want before there is a price increase. Because if you're waiting around, you know, a price increase might happen. And just like what we've talked about lately, there's a lot of items in Louis Vuitton that are, you know, going up $50, $100, 20, you know, $20 here and there. And it's not like they're advertising, hey, we're gonna have a price increase the 15th of this month or anything like that, kind of like what Chanel did. They did it very quietly, but still a lot of people knew about it. Versus Louis Vuitton, one day you wake up and the Palm Springs mini backpack is this price, and then another day you wake up and the Pochette Métis is a different price or what have you. So, for the sake of wanting to find the items that you want at the moment that you want to get them, and if you have the opportunity to get them through a different sales associate, I say, why not? It doesn't hurt. I mean, I know they have multiple clients as well, right? Maybe that's just the way I justify it, but I'm very vocal about about cheating on my sales associates. And they're not, you know, I feel like so possessive when I say my sales associates. But my contacts, I should say, at Louis Vuitton. And, you know, they're always like, I know, I get it. You wanted to get it because we weren't able to get it into this boutique or what have you. So I think it's okay. I think it's definitely okay. Some of you will agree with me, some of you won't. That's fine. But I think it's quite all right. So don't feel guilty by any means whatsoever, especially if they can find those items for you. So hopefully that was able to answer your question. And the last question from Maritha LV Lover MJ. Hopefully I said that correctly. What is your thoughts about the Neverfull and Damier with red interior in World Tour? Great question. And if the Neverfull World Tour was available in the Damier Ben version, I would be all for it. I think it would be amazing, especially because I know that a lot of people aren't a fan of the monogram. Some people think it's a little too loud, but by going with the Damier Ben canvas, it's a little bit more subtle. You know, it's not as in your face, if you will, and you still have that beautiful red interior. I would love that black trim though. I wouldn't want to get the color treated brown that comes with the Damier Ben. I would really like to see the black trim, but I think it would be beautiful. And you know, I'm a big fan of the World Tour. I love the fact that you can end up choosing and personalizing your piece a little bit more because you have so many different patches to choose from. But having said that, I feel that I wish there was the option where you didn't have to get any patches whatsoever. And I know that when they first launched the World Tour, that was a possibility. Other people had said that their sales associates had said that you have to have somewhat of a patch. So a lot of people got that inconspicuous initial on the corner and things like that. But I really would love an option where there were no patches, because as much as I like the patches and as great as they are and as fantastic as they would be to personalize your piece, I'm the type of person that I have a hard time committing to a patch for the rest of that handbag's life. I don't know what it is. Like, I feel that maybe it's because of how I'm so indecisive. I feel like I'm the most indecisive person on the planet, because if I have an option, especially if I have an option to choose, I cannot make up my mind. I'll end up leaning towards this one, and then I'll go towards this one. I will be in the boutique forever. And I can guarantee you, I'm also the type of person that when I end up getting something, I say, okay, I'm going to go ahead and get it. I'm going to get this patch and done with. The minute I walk out of that boutique, I'm like, oh, I should have gotten the other one. That's the type of person that I am. So I feel like I can't commit to the patches, as beautiful as they are. I just can't. I can't do it. But yeah, I think it would be fantastic. I totally went on a tangent there. I think it would be great if they ended up doing the Damier Ben for the World Tour. It would just be, it'd be beautiful. So hopefully that was able to answer your question. All right, you guys, so that does it for Minks Monday Q&A. I know I had a little bit of difficulty talking because I know I'm getting sick. I can feel it right here, and like my cheeks feel like they're on fire. So hopefully I don't look too bad. But for this week's lineup, I might only have one other video for you, but it's going to be a very fun and exciting video. I was hoping to do this last week, but the items needed to come in, and I had to get it ready for the video and whatnot. So I can't really tell you what it's going to be about. All I know is that I'm excited to do it, and I hope you guys enjoy it as well. And hopefully it ends up, everything ends up working out. I know I'm being all mysterious about it. That doesn't end up helping out. But I think that's the only other video I'm going to be able to do this week. I will try my hardest to get another one out there, maybe a random Saturday one, because it's been a while since I've done one, so I might end up just doing my Vans collection for Saturday. Because I ended up buying a few more other shoes. I can't help it. I can't help it. But that does it for Minks Monday Q&A. I hope you guys enjoyed it. If you did, make sure and give it a thumbs up. If you haven't already and you would like to, please subscribe to my YouTube channel by clicking on the red button down below and hitting that bell so you're notified when I upload videos, which is anywhere from 2 to 3 times a week. And as always, I always love to hear your guys' opinion on anything that we talk about on Minks Monday. There is no right or wrong answer. It's not like I'm going to say, oh, you're wrong because of this. Absolutely not. It's just sharing an opinion. Just like everything that I talk about is just my own 2 cents. You know what I mean? But I hope you guys enjoyed it, and I will see you later this week. And as always, make it a fabulous day or not. The choice is yours. Have a great day, you guys.